Hello, we're online. It's 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Englander, and it's my live show. Thank you for joining me. We've got lots of entertaining little stories for you today. As you know, Graham, giveaway Graham, gives me a list of things to do every week, a list of things to talk about. He does lots and lots of research and brings me the stories of the week that we think might interest you, and I deliver it in my amusing little way. What I've got here is all over the place, and I don't know what to say to you first. I mean, Graham, what are you doing to me? You've got here, Radio 4 are using automation as an excuse to push communism.
Yes.
What?
That was my personal blog, and I forgot to translate it. I do apologise.
So who cares about communism?
There's no.
I'm a pure-hearted capitalist.
I do.
But you know, as you put through to using automation, it is the way forward. In fact, I was reading some articles the other day about what businesses people are more going into these days, and it's all about automation. It's all about getting people to buy into your services, and you deliver a more efficient service by automating whatever it is you do. So let me give you, for instance, clients of mine might notice they get an email at the end of each sort of event. They might get a reminder that their paperwork is due to be picked up or processed or whatever. And what happens there, I use a CRM system, a bit of software called Salesforce, and what happens is I just program it that we have a series of tasks that come up that say, these are the jobs we need to do today. So when John Smith's pickup's due, John Smith will get an email to saying your paperwork's due, and at the same time, a task note will go to the relevant bookkeeper, and they will start preparing for that paperwork to come in. They'll start setting up the accounts and start getting the files out and getting everything ready. So it's completely automated. It happens with every single client, and it happens every single accounting pickup period. On top of that, if the paperwork doesn't come in as planned, another automated note goes out to remind the client, but also this time the note doesn't go to the bookkeeper, it goes to one of our client relationship or business consultants, who will then say, look, we need this paperwork in and this is why we need it, sort of thing. So automation does a lot of things, and it can do anything from saying thank yous to clients, to invoicing to clients, to remind people that jobs are needed to be done, to allocate jobs. It's just so much labour-saving stuff that you can automate. It's not just about making sales. It's not just about sending birthday cards at the right time. So automation is something that people are scared will take jobs away and put businesses out. Like, for instance, I'll talk about accountancy, because accountancy is something that I'm in. People often said, with all this new automation and all these new software like Xero and Sage, and I know I've said it before, they are marvelous, but they're not going to do accountants out of business, because even though the information, the software is very good, you still need someone to operate it, and people still don't want to operate it, and we still need to analyse the results of these things. So what the automation does is mean that the same people who would before be processing data can come away from processing data and analyse accounts and work on the actual results of the accounts and just make sure everything's in line with what HMRC are looking for. Did you want me, Graham?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing about automation. Whenever there's a conversation about it, a big thing is about how they can do medical diagnoses now.
Yes.
Like you spot certain things with an accuracy that a human never could.
Well, this is where technology is going. This is where business is going, because unfortunately, and it is unfortunate, that the small little corner shop, I think they used to call them the mom and pop shops, they're not able to survive unless we start automating. Do you know that there is software around that can load your products onto eBay, Amazon, and whatever, and your own website and whatever it is, and then monitor the sales? So if you've sold something on Amazon, it will automatically adjust the quantity you've got left for sale on eBay and everywhere else. So it does a full stock control that way. It'll also scout round, and if you set it right, it will adjust the price you're selling it at to adjust what the market is selling it at. So it makes sure that you're not over too expensive and not sell any, but it'll also let you know if you're too cheap and could maybe get an extra few quid on it. So it is worth looking at the software that you use in your business, and it doesn't have to give advantages.
You sound quite positive on it. I know a lot of people talk about it in a very fearful way.
Yeah, they do.
And I personally, I don't understand it. I think it's brilliant.
Well, you look at as an example, you always go to the big firms because they've got the money to be at the top of this. But you go to McDonald's and they were testing these burger flipping computers, weren't they?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see that.
Yeah. They had it was last year, I think, maybe the year before. They had a computer that could flip burgers, so they could automate the entire production, pretty much, of the cooking of the burger, and that's going to put loads of people out of work. But is it, or is it going to enable people to do better jobs, more fulfilling jobs?
This is the thing. I think a lot of headlines and a lot of the conversation about it ignores it. They only give you half the information. So they're like, oh, this many thousands of jobs will be lost. But then they don't talk about the fact that there's this many thousands of jobs that also need filling still.
No, because
it's that one-sided conversation.
I think there's a culture, and I see it, where flipping burgers is great. Doing something more interesting requires effort. It requires maybe restudy. It requires more training. And I think a lot of people are caught up in that trap of, while they're flipping burgers, they can't train. If they get sacked from the job, they've not got the money to be retrained. And I think these are things that maybe the government could get hold of better and actually help people retrain and do things more fulfilling. I mean, if you want to just flip burgers and you're happy with that, then there's still plenty of smaller businesses that will need people to flip burgers.
I used to work with a guy who flipped chicken skewers, Tam Popo, and he minimum wage, all the rest of it. But he was doing his PhD. He was helping to cure cancer outside of work.
That's a different thing again.
But it's that. This doesn't have to be your whole life. You can have a lot of things going on.
Will save money. It will help you become more efficient. It will take a lot of stress away. It will not lead to people losing jobs. It just means people can do more productive stuff. An example of that is that we take care for clients sometimes of their credit control. So we will tell people every month how much money they are owed and give them a list or separate alerts for people that are particularly late. Now, that's not going to take the job away from any internal bookkeeper they've got. It will mean the bookkeeper can spend more time chasing this money in. And it's things like that. So automation is definitely, and I'm not an expert in software, but around me, I've got people who consult on the type of software that your business might need. So again, on that bit, we've always can point people in the right direction. We can even do a little bit of an appraisal with people to see the more obvious software that could help them in their business. But I'm sure a lot of people have got point of sale tills now, where a barcode scanned. And that, again, that's another example of automating processes, because when you scan things, it adjusts for your stock levels, so it's automatic stock control as well. So anything that doesn't match is theft. Anyway, I'll cross that out, because we're certainly not going down looking at communism. I know. Okay, great. Just to make up for making you look like a complete fool.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You need it after today.
You've got your quote of the day, haven't you?
Oh, we're going to do the quote of the day.
Go on,
2 weeks in a row.
Yep.
Oh, wonderful. Let me get it up. Where is it? Don't you laugh at me, Aidan. Oh, that's the wrong one.
Hey, we've not got all day. My life's running out. Shall I move on to the next one?
No, please. Quote of the day is my little
problem.
baby. Please. We have to do it more than once, just to see. Okay, here we go. Success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it. And that's Henry David Thoreau.
Do you think that's true? Because what you're too busy with? You're too busy sitting around doing fuck all.
Well,
you're too busy dealing with mundane tasks. Why are you too busy? Part of the purpose of a businessman is to look for things that create success. So you need to plan for success. So I'm sorry, you don't pick up some shit. Sorry, Graham. I'm striking that quote out. And if that's the quality of this quote...
Are we striking it from the record?
If that's the quality of the quotes you're going to give me, I'm going to lose viewers.
Well,
There's only two people there, as it is.
It was meant to stimulate conversation.
Well, there's a conversation.
You're not necessarily supposed to agree
success
with
comes
it.
to those people who attune themselves to look for it.
Okay.
So you sit there, and if you're in a wood and you can't see the trees, so you focus yourself.
He's a philosopher, isn't he? And everything.
He's not a very good one.
Well, yeah. But all these things are both true and untrue. It's
not. There's no truth in that at all. That's an excuse for people that are not successful because they spend their lives doing crap like playing games.
Yeah. I've deleted Steam off my thing now. Don't worry, it won't be happening again. No more games. Okay. Lesson learned.
What else have you given me to talk about? We've got, this is good. I was actually reading this about VR headsets, that more and more people in the workplace are being given VR headsets, and apparently that produces production. So I like that idea of putting a headset on, with the sound and the eyes, and I live in this virtual world. So I can see little big rabbits coming to me and giving me reports and stuff like that.
Do you just want to go at this point? Yeah, you just
no.
Just
I see gamification.
Yeah,
which is a way of getting people to participate in whatever you want to nudge them. So it's like having a little bit of a competition or points make prizes type thing where everybody gets involved. And I think if I put on a virtual headset and I'm in some Star Trek world and I'm sat there with it, I mean, there is a bit that maybe makes you feel good.
It's starting to happen slowly.
I just get rid of the Klingons on the starboard bow, though.
We should try and do a special episode from within VR or something. It'd be hilarious. I think that'd be great.
If we could do that, I would enjoy doing that.
It's possible. I'll look into it for you.
What they're saying is that not only does VR, these VR headsets can boost productivity, but they're also saying having a potted plant on your desk can do the same thing. Yeah. Don't know. Is that something? Do you talk to your plants?
I have a lot of plants at home, actually. Yeah. I think as I've got older, I shove them in every corner and every shelf I can get them on, but I don't tend to do a lot.
No, it's
when I'm home,
the article
I don't think it does anything.
VR technology of creating a whole world that you work in, and it's a lovely environment to having a.
Do you think if you got one of the spare rooms upstairs and installed a VR in there for like breaks or whatever, do you think things would get better or worse in here? Do
you know what? I think it won't make the slightest bit of difference, but it'll make people feel a bit more relaxed while they're having lunch.
Would you like that? Do you want that?
I don't mind. My attitude is that we've got targets to meet, as everybody that's watching this programme does. We've got things that need to be done. And I'm with make things as comfortable as possible and make people enjoy everything they do, as long as production stays the same or goes up, or but it's when it starts going down, sometimes you make that choice. But it's something right. I can certainly get some quotes for.
I'll sort it out. I'll give Melanie a ring in the morning. Don't worry, I'll sort it out, mate. We're good.
You won't get one.
Stephen said he wants everyone to be happy.
Yeah, well, we can get something they can digest for that. Dragon's Den. Dragon's Den's back. Do you like Dragon's Den? Do you ever watch it?
I used to watch it, but I don't watch it anymore.
No, I still quite like it. We've actually. Do you know that the vast majority of people that win the investment, the deal never goes through.
No. They're on there. It's an advert for the company, isn't it?
Well, a lot do that. A lot of them, I would imagine, would go on to get publicity for them and then not want to go through. But I reckon that more don't go through because of the due diligence they do. So if someone came to me and they pitched an idea and I thought, that's not a bad idea, I might invest in that. I bet you a very high percentage of the people that I go and look at, the figures are wrong. So they might be overestimating sales or profits or telling me things that aren't quite the truth that make up the investment. And I would imagine the dragons are not going to go ahead with investments that aren't right. I don't think people are out to cheat anybody. I just think people don't get the figures right. And that's something to look at if they are raising investment or they are looking to sell the business or gain a partner or gain anything, that the figures need to reflect what it is that you're offering. So you can try and blag it or be overzealous and it just doesn't work. Eventually it's going to get found out. What I found amusing was that years ago, a client of mine was actually on Dragon. I've had a couple go on Dragon's Den. A couple of them have got there, but this one guy he got all of them because it was such a good business. And I'm watching this show and I'm thinking, what is going on here? I do his accounts. I've never heard sales like this or quotes like this, or, and it was totally blagged. And, I don't actually remember whether the deal went through or not, but I just remember sat there watching it and I thought, it's just rubbish what he's saying, but I'm not getting involved.
You're waiting for the call for the Dragons, aren't you? Because they're going to check your
do you know what?
first.
I was waiting for that, but it never came, because what tends to happen is that, especially in those days before the digital thing, we used to post out copies of accounts each year and each quarter with all the sort of workings out, so they would have had that ready. But sometimes though, an idea does transcend the actual money being taken. So even a startup idea, if you've got a product that is a really good product and you've got no money, or the business isn't actually making any money, it doesn't always matter that much, because it's the potential within the product. So especially where there's these barriers to entry to the business, where they've got a monopoly on something, or no, you can't get this product from anywhere but this source, and you've got it, or you've got the licenses. That in itself can make the business valuable. So there's another thing that I try and consult with people. I always look for where the I suppose USP, what makes that business special, and if people concentrate on what makes that business special, then they could be sitting on stuff that they don't even know about. You see, things can be repurposed, can't they?
Have you seen the one from a few years ago where someone was selling the idea of masks with personalised designs on?
Oh yeah, I love it.
And the Dragons laughed them out of there because COVID hadn't hit yet.
Well, but
what can you do? How could you know? How could you know? Eh?
No. But it's funny you should mention masks, because you were with me while I was going through a consultation with a client, and basically they're making something and it's not really working.
I really enjoyed that. It was a really good morning. Yeah.
Well, we're going to film it once we've got results for him, because I know I can create results. But it's interesting that he makes one product which is I won't mention it, but then he was telling me about the machinery I've got, and I mentioned this machinery to somebody after the meeting, and they said, can he use, because that machinery can make masks. So can he make masks? So if he comes away from the product he's making that he's not having a great deal of success with, and start making masks at the moment, then there could be quite a considerable turnaround for that business. So sometimes look at what you are doing, look at what your main facilities are, not the product you make, and see if you can turn that into making something else that is more profitable. So this is why we like to look at the profits of each different business, and not just the business but the products themselves, and see where that market can lead us to.
You know what, if he'd come to a year ago, he'd be like Scrooge McDuck now, wouldn't he, swimming through his gold?
Well, maybe.
Bless him.
Maybe.
Hey?
Maybe. But you see, even in a crisis, if you look for it, you'll find an opportunity. If you've got the right mindset, then even in crisis, there are opportunities there. I'm not talking about being a chancer. I'm just saying that calm down, look at what your options are, take stock of what you can do. I remember a few years ago, a long time ago, there was a gentleman, he's retired now, retired a long time ago, and he had a fruit and veg shop, just a little shop with his wife, and it was making a profit, but not enough to even warrant two people working in the place like this. And I was having a chat with him, and the guy at the time was in his 50s, and I was saying he was telling me he used to have a big house, he used to have this, and I was saying, well, why? What did you do? And he was actually a plumber. And he had a personal tragedy, and he gave it all up. But then we were talking and saying, you could earn more in a day in plumbing service than this shop earns, in a month. And eventually he decided to go back to it and go back to the plumbing. And honestly, within 6 months, he'd closed the shop down because his wife so she didn't really want to work in it anyway. And he was back being a plumber, but not working as hard as he did last time. And he was making a lot more money doing that. And he was happy because he was doing something he actually wanted to do. So I think sometimes people get caught up in something and maybe there's something more. So a little bit of a CV and, stick to what you're good. I mean, sometimes you've got to say, why did you come into this business? What is it you're trying to achieve? we were talking about this before, weren't we, Graham? And that was a prompt for you to ask me why I went into accountancy.
Yeah.
And you just forgot, didn't you?
I was finding the title, which still isn't up. But no.
Sorry, what were you going to say, Graham? Why did what?
Hey, Stephen, that's made me think of a question.
Yeah, go on.
Why did you go into accountancy, Stephen?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. It was actually desperation, because I used to have several shops, and I used to import and export, and more import than export, and I had a cash and carry, and I ended up losing it all, and I went bankrupt. And I thought I didn't want to work for a living anymore, so I thought I'd go back and study accountancy. So that's what I did. I was out there cleaning carpets, selling kitchens, and studying.
This is what I was talking about before with the guy flipping chicken whilst doing his PhD.
But I was desperate.
Yeah.
I needed to do something else.
Oh, no, well, he's a good man.
Yeah. And I didn't have any money. So I thought I'll set something up that I can sell. As a product, but I can control it myself. I wasn't relying on importers. I wasn't relying on manufacturers. And I could just control my own supply. And that's why I did it. And then I found that I actually quite liked it as well. So, that's what I've been doing for the last 31 years.
That's what I was going to come on to then. Yeah. How long did you see yourself doing it for? Did you think, 30 years?
No, what I didn't. I first went into this because I felt that if I could put myself into a position of responsibility I was more strategic than anything else, and into maybe get into a bigger firm and put myself into an area of some sort of influence with them, then I could find products to sell them, because I was still a trader in those days. I was still thinking, I can get that in China, I can get that. If I've got a guy that I'm working with, I can direct that. But it didn't work that way. What happened was I had a few clients come to me that used to be customers when I had the cash and carry, and I always had a bit of a name for helping out like that, and that's how that started. So it is very important to take stock of not just where you are in life, not just what you're good at, but look at the facilities around you and maybe look at what the future can bring. Study is always a good thing, but you don't need to do 3, 4, 5-year courses. You can do things for a few weeks and maybe master a particular aspect of software, or learn how to design a website. And there's all sorts of things that you don't need to sell as a service in their own right, but you can combine with other skills.
Was that a dig then, the website thing, eh? I know I said I'd redo your bit on your website, right? Yeah. But I've not done it yet, okay?
Oh, no, it wasn't.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Just publicly humiliate me.
No, Graham.
Just because I'm not very good at it.
It's not the case. Just to put your mind at rest, I don't rely on you for anything. Don't worry about it, seriously. So let me cross that. There's too many in-jokes tonight. We were talking about before that there's been a lot of discussion about working from home, and in the papers as well. And a lot of the reason why I talk about these big things is to give you an idea of what's coming and the trends to follow. Because if working from home is going to become a thing, then maybe you should gear up for that, if that's the way out, whether you work from home or whether you've got employees that work from home. If it's going to become a thing, if a 4-day week's going to become a thing, then start preparing for it, because what you hear in the papers might affect you in 2 years' time or 3 years' time. It's a little bit like the weather. If you know what the weather's going to be over the next week or two, then maybe, and the weather is the sort of thing that affects people coming out onto the business, especially on the markets, then maybe you can plan accordingly. It's just knowing how the climate of the country and big business is working, because ultimately, I promise you, whatever's going on in the news, even if it's been just chatted about, it's going to roll down to people like us, and we need to be aware of it.
I think that's it. The 4-day week and working from home, politically, a very nice feeling, nice sounding. generate great headlines, like, you know, so you have to be aware of it. You have to be ready.
And you have to prepare for it, because even though this is like halcyon feelings, nice warm glow, oh, people can work from home, they can do what they want, people are great. If you're going to have people working at home, you've got to have very, very strong targets for them to meet and ways of checking them. And that's where software comes in again. So you can check phone logs, you can check activity, you can check all sorts of things. You know, we don't care if people sit there working in their underwear, but what we do want is for them to do the jobs and deal with people accordingly. Like my telephone systems, for example, we can operate our telephone systems anywhere in the world. They can have access to anything that we need them to have access to. Makes no difference, and you won't know whether people are next door or 100 miles away. And this software is available to anyone. The phone, you can program the phones to come out with any number. You can give each member of staff their own dedicated phone number or line or anything. So there's no reason why you can't organise these things. But if you do take the choice for anything that's only going to be profitable for you, if it's target based, you do have to get your operations, your house in order in that area. And this is why these things are worth talking about, because the actual article that Graham very kindly gave me is full of blurb, and what they're talking about is things like it improves health, like, you know, home work-life balance, and you know, the statistics for increase or decrease production. But I wasn't going to go into that because I don't care. It's just about monitoring people and making sure that they do what they're supposed to be doing.
This is another layer to the interest, because the headlines are saying that productivity has been up in the last year.
Yeah.
But then the data that I've given you, which you're right, we don't need to talk about right now, shows the opposite.
About it?
Well, it's the fact that it shows the opposite.
It does make a difference, national stats on that for small businesses. Small business owners are more attuned to the staff, and they know, give an inch. So we've got to have some sort of monitoring people. But, you know, on monitoring staff, things like that, there are other opportunities here if you get monitoring the staff right, because it's like, one of the, you know, some of the growing trends for people are mobile hairdressers. So there's not more people going into that. But how does that affect the salons? Because everyone wants to do mobile. And it's like the salons themselves could employ mobile hairdressers. So they're actually dealing with the brand, with the shop, but these guys are working as mobile hairdressers. Maybe there's a franchise opportunity there. Hairdressing is a great business to be in. The problem is people coming to the shop, or people preferring people going from home. So I've got some good ideas for people. I've already got some templates, so you can avoid legal contract costs and even reduce the cost of the franchise manuals, because I've already got a lot of this stuff templated, because I worked with a hairdressing franchise company about 20 years ago, and I've still got sort of the overall templates. So the other thing, businesses that are definitely on the rise are anything to do with property maintenance. So builders, roofers, electricians, all being popular services, all on the increase. So I predict that there's going to be a massive surge in demand for these services. Surprisingly as well, do you know what's the biggest trend in new businesses setting up, home businesses?
Go on.
Baking cakes.
Oh, really?
Fantastic, you know. But do be aware of the health and safety issues. But if you do have a commercial kitchen, there's nothing wrong with setting up these types of businesses along the side of your existing businesses, and you've got another product, another reach out with people, another thing for your website, and another reason for your blogging. I've seen lots of blogging on things like LinkedIn, which has got loads of pictures of cakes and things, and I just look at them and think, I'm going to order one of these, you know. But then I'm on a carefully controlled diet, so I'm not allowed to. But so I try not to look. The other thing in business that where
you sounded so sad then.
I am. I'm sad,
I know.
As you get older, you get less and less pleasures in life.
Oh, I already know about that.
I'm sure you do.
I wish you'd wake up sometime.
Just the one child then. But these business-to-business services, more and more, that are going out there, and what they're looking for is a monthly subscription. Lots of software, lots of apps, lots of let's do this on demand, and these. I'm not a software guy, but I know there's lots of places you can go to if you've got an idea for software, or you've got an idea for developing an app or some sort of application that you can sell on to businesses, where you can get a retainer every month, even if it's only a couple of quid, and you get lots of advantages with things like research and development and all of that type of benefit. So it's all worth doing. If you've got an idea for software, I can possibly put you towards people that won't stitch you up on the price of developing it, but they can develop it for you. So all you have to do is brand it and sell it, and come up with the idea, of course. But we can always you can always join me on one of my live sort of sessions where we can have a group of people and just brainstorm ideas. So if you want to join, let me know. So we're coming to the end of this exciting show tonight. This very fast-paced show. We've had a couple of good interviews with people this week. We were with Nick Buckley, who's running for Mayor of Manchester. We had
I don't know his second name. I just know him as Harry the Owl.
Harry Miller.
I
better
write that
consulting. These people have been in the papers lately if you want to read up on them. But the Between the Spreadsheets shows are coming out this week. So, Nick Buckley's already out, so you can have a listen to them. They're quite funny what they've been up to. Especially, I just talk about the business side, but trigger warning, at 10 o'clock explores the darker sides, if you like. Just one more point before I go. You might know that I mentioned what a sort of like artificial company Deliveroo is, and the whole thing's planned just to make people money. And it's heartwarming to see that the shares have flopped a little bit and people aren't as daft as Deliveroo think they are. So let's see what happens there. They might just go up because where there's a profit, people will buy. Anyway, guys, thank you very, very much for joining me. I will be here next week as always, 7 o'clock Thursdays. Have a lovely weekend. Have a lovely bank holiday weekend. Good night.